Hey guys, welcome back to the POA Farmer. I'm Kristen, and today I am dealing with a disgruntled German Shepherd who thinks she needs to be part of the conversation. So if you hear her in the background, sorry, she's very vocal. Sven, on the other hand, my Boxer Beagle, is just snoring away in front of me. So sorry about all of that adventure. They're very cute, if nothing else. You'll see them a lot. So today it is beautiful outside, deceptively pretty, and about 40 degrees. So I have a lot of work I need to do to make the back pretty and get my farm kind of situated for the spring, and none of these projects can be done immediately. Everything's kind of pieces. One day I can do one thing, another day another piece. But one thing that I thought I would give you guys a heads up before I get started on some of my seed sowing is that I have a plan for something I would like to share with you. One of the struggles I have with growing things is I get really excited about different things to grow and trying something new, especially if it's something that I've never heard of or seen before. But that also means that there's a lot of stuff that I have no idea how to use or cook or what its purpose is. If it's a flower and it's pretty, yay me. If it smells good, awesome. If it's edible, cool. But what do I make with it? So I'm going to be posting some videos throughout the season where I talk about, well, from seed to the spotlight. What is it that makes this particular plant or vegetable or flower, whatever you want that I'm growing, what makes it so cool? What makes it beneficial? What do you do with it? Now, here's the thing. As a general rule in my world, especially farm life, I was raised that everything has a purpose and you don't waste. That's just something that we were raised to believe. If you take part of any kind of growing or butchering, you use everything that you can to some purpose or degree. Now, there's some things that the purpose may not be obvious, and so finding other ways to add that back in. For example, I take all of my eggshells and I grind them up, put them in a giant jar, because come tomato season, I'm going to sprinkle the garden with all of my eggshells so that I'm putting calcium back in to my soil, because tomatoes really like calcium and they need it. So that's just one really easy example I can give you. I do believe that sometimes a purpose for an object can be something as simple as it smells good or it looks pretty. It strikes joy. So I'm not saying that everything has to have a purpose in the sense that it's usable in a tangible way. But does it have another purpose? Does it strike joy into your heart? Does it give you joy? If the answer is yes, then it had its purpose and it's perfectly appropriate to use and grow. But on top of that, I figured I would just tell you about the plants and the things I'm growing. So you should see the first video about that coming up in the next couple days. I started some herbs, again, probably off season because that's what I do, a few months back. And so I'm going to put them in the spotlight. There are a few things that I didn't know I could do with them and things I could make. So stay tuned for all of that adventure. In the meantime, why don't we look at some of the seeds that I'm sowing today so that in future videos, when they become the spotlight, you might have already seen at least the beginning and how they started. So let's go for an adventure. All right, my friends. So as per usual, I have more seeds than I need. That's probably going to be a bit of my MO. So I got my last order from Baker Creek. It's going to be my last for the season. I'm keeping to that unless I absolutely have to buy something else. No more. I'm done for the season. I am. It can go on a wish list. I will survive with all the other things that I want. Not here. It's fine. So since I have my stack These are not all the ones. I just ordered some of these I've had for a hot minute or so, but a lot of it's new. And it is what I'm going to start today. Now, I am starting responsibly. I'm not going to start as many seeds as I have for my peppers and some of the flowers. It's fine. I'm going to be a little bit more reserved because I am going to run out of space eventually, and I can acknowledge that. Which brings me to another interesting point that you guys are going to see in the next couple days of taking advantage of the space I have. I may or may not be rearranging a few things in my front yard, like removing some shrubs. Because let's face it, why have shrubs when I can have herbs or berry bushes? I know. We're gonna see how this adventure goes, but I think I might as well take advantage of the space I have, and I'm gonna show you what that looks like. The key has to be, it just has to look nice and be maintained. Why would I maintain a shrub if I don't have to? Instead, I could have something pretty, which is why I'm going to focus on lemon balm in my first Seed to Spotlight video, because one, we get terrible mosquitoes here. Awful. They're like baby dinosaurs. They're like little baby pterodactyls flying around out there. They're everywhere, and they're horrible here, mostly because of my shrubs and the fact that I'm close to a large body of water. So that being said, I got to do something to help my yard not be quite so mosquito infested. I'm going to remove some shrubs in the front and make it a mini herb garden with my lemon balm. Lemon balm is very, it takes over. It's kind of like the mints. If you didn't know this, mint family, anything in that genus, they take over whatever area container you put them in. So don't just put mint or lemon balm in your large beds. It will try to be a bully and take over the entire thing. So I'm okay with my lemon balm taking over the front that I'm putting it in, because it helps deter mosquitoes and snakes. All things that in Texas are monstrous and can kill you. Well, mosquitoes may not be able to kill you, but the snakes can. I digress. Anyways, so stay tuned for some of that fun. In the meantime, let's talk about these seeds. This is what we're going to start with. It is a oregano lavender. Super cool. Two things I really love. It's going to do really well in this zone. I'm in zone 8A. I think I borderline 8B sometimes, but mostly 8A. So this is something that is going to be a perennial. And so wherever I plant it, I'm going to want to make that its home so I can do it over and over again. Conversation for expanding my beds just keeps growing. Then, let's see. This one is thyme. So it's another perennial. It'll come back. It's not winter hardy, but it's beautiful, smells great, and you can use it to cook. Let's see. Ooh, another fun one. So this is Torch Minty Ice Lavender, which sounds really cool. It's supposed to have kind of a wintry mint flavor to it, even scent. So I'm interested to see what that smells like. It gets tall. So this one's a 2.5 foot tall plant. Like, I'm 4'10", so that's half of me. More than half of me, technically, I think. No, exactly half of me. Man, I can't do math. It's half of me. So I think that'll be interesting to see where I can plant it. I also have lime basil. It's only an annual. It's not going to last forever. But I know that it reseeds readily, or at least all of my other basil has, so I imagine this will too. I think that'll be fun to have. I probably should have organized these a little bit before I started talking, but that's okay. Now, some of these are just pretty. So I did some of my herbs that I'm starting. This is milkweed. So Hello Yellow milkweed. If you notice, these are all my Baker Creek. I do buy from other companies. Go look at my previous videos. You'll see In My Gardener is one of my favorites. But I just love Baker Creek. I can't help it. They have wonderful things to offer. Anyways, again, squirrel. So it's perennial. This is one of those things that I'm growing for the fact that it's really good for pollinators. So if you didn't know, milkweed, although is a little bit special, it is drought tolerant and it's really friendly, bright colored for our bees and our butterflies, specifically the monarchs. Now, I actually live next to a monarch sanctuary. It's right across the street, basically. Not even a couple miles down the road. So there's gonna be a lot in the area. Why not help give them a little bit of support? I can't say that milkweed's something I really wanted to grow. I don't think I thought about it, but when I was trying to think of things that would benefit the pollinators, that stood out to me. So that's one. Bachelor button, it's fireworks. If you didn't know, I don't think I've mentioned it yet, the 4th of July is my favorite holiday. I know, America. Very, very patriotic of me, but I love it. It's a family thing. We used to spend every 4th of July making homemade ice cream at the lake, watching the fireworks, the whole 9 yards. So very sentimental to me. And so I'm a sucker for anything that has to do with fireworks. Now, what's nice about these is I can actually sow these now outside, and I'm going to. I don't have to plant them because it's early enough that they'll do. I think I'm just gonna take one of my containers out there to put them in just to see how they do. I've never grown them, so I don't know if I want to be too adventurous. Now, this one's fun. Leda Fire Viola. I had to say that slowly because otherwise I was going to butcher it. So it's a dwarf viola and it's an 85 day. So it's perennial. It's gonna take a hot minute and it does like the cool conditions. So this one I'm hoping to start now because we won't stay cool for very long. And if I don't get to really enjoy it this year, it's kind of a sacrifice I have to make for next year. A lot of the things I do, I like to think of it as a long game plan. I'm doing this so that I have something nice for future generations, my future, my child's future, and just because I can even for next season. Next, I have a petunia. So these are mammoth blossoms. They're gonna be huge. It's a Super Bisma, Gesundheit, Cosmic Cherry Petunia. Like, I don't know how well you guys can see that. Isn't that so pretty? It's so pretty. Anyways, excited about this one. Just to add a different type of color. This is another one that I'm gonna start as a seedling though, because it does do better to do that. It likes to be warm, very warm in fact. So I think this will do really well. I believe it's not frost hardy, which I'm not surprised, but it is perennial. We're gonna go with it. If it's not perennial, it'll readily sow. Now, for the very last of my peppers. I swear, they are the last of my peppers. I realized that I didn't have any Anaheims, which just seems a little wrong because I do enjoy them. They are a hot pepper. It's from New Mexico originally. New Mexico and Texas have some similarities when it comes to it gets hot. So I figured they'd probably do really well here. It definitely wants warm soil. So this one's one that I may do my peppers in their own container just so I can technically put them a little bit closer to the heater, or I really should just invest in a heat mat. Is this me justifying another purchase from Amazon? I think this is me justifying another purchase. We'll see. I do think it's, again, one of those investments that they recommend using seed mats often for seedlings. In Texas, things get really hot, and so we keep our home warm. I don't like the cold at all. It may not truly be necessary. This might be a good year to just test it. And you know what? How quickly? Let's see. It sprouts in 7 to 10 days. So if I start some and I'm not seeing any difference, then I'll purchase a heat mat. See? I used logic there. It's fine. Now, the next two I'm really excited about. This first one, Ahi Crystal. So it is a 90 day. It's gonna take a hot minute to grow. But look how fun that is. Isn't it colorful? It's another one that it's hot, but it intensifies the longer it's on the plant. So the darker it gets, the hotter it gets, basically. It's great apparently for hot sauces and salsa, which Texas, y'all, we like our salsa. And then my very last one, which this one's cute. I know it's probably stupid for me to call a pepper cute, but look at it. It's a little tiny thing. I like little tiny things. Then ají chaparrita. Yeah, chaparrita. Pepper. It's teeny tiny. It's from Peru. It should be, yeah, another 7 to 10 days. So this one's one that it would like the heat mat as well. I'm not gonna start a ton of these because I don't really need a ton of them. I like spicy, but I don't know that I like this spicy. It's supposed to be pretty hot. But it has a fruity and citric taste to citrus. Fruity and citrus taste to it. I can't speak. You guys are used to me by now, hopefully. And apparently it's like a cayenne pepper in heat. But it's so tiny and cute. I figured I'd see what the fuss is about. It looks pretty cool. I might as well try it. That's what I'm gonna start for now. So I'm going to let you guys watch me start them real quick. Another quick little time lapse, and then we can talk some more about the plans. Let's go. Time for the fun one. Out into the cold I go. But let's go find a place to plant these little beauties. All right, let's see what we got. Ooh, momentary pause. Yay, green stalk. You're surviving, mostly. Need one that drained well. What about these? It's a nice red one. Do you think we can ignore the part where this one says it's tomatoes? Because it's definitely not going to be tomatoes this year. It'll be fine. Some of these are good, don't get me wrong, but all right. Good luck, little buddies. Let's see how this does. All right, back inside where it's warm, in my cozy favorite chair. And I have a problem, so to speak, that I gotta figure out. So, maybe you guys can help me. I purposefully, quasi-purposefully, did the short beds because I, one, wanted to save money because those suckers are not cheap. And two, I didn't want to have to fill it up with a ton of soil. Again, saving money. And there's already soil underneath, so I felt like I was wasting a golden opportunity. And I have a sprinkler system. So by keeping it, keeping my bed low, it can help water my garden. It worked last year at least. So I don't have to do as much. The downside. Somebody, also known as Ziva and Sven, I'm calling you out, dogs. They can get in the beds, which means they can run through it, dig through it, and all the other things that dogs do. Now, it won't be a problem once I get my cattle panel trellis wall, so to speak, because that's going to help block them off. And as the plants get bigger, of course, they're not going to get in it as much. That doesn't solve the problem for now. My options are, one, I could more closely monitor them when they're outside, keeping them away from it, which training-wise, they need to be trained not to get in the beds anyways. I do need to do that. It's just cold, and I don't want to have to go out there with them every time they potty. That's the point of having the fence. I can open the door, they go outside. I can open the door, they come back in. But I might have to revert back to when I didn't have a fence and just go out there with them so I can keep a better eye and keep them out of my beds. The other option is to bite the bullet and build them up higher, but I really don't want to do that. So I think what I will do is continue to monitor them and then get the panels up. I wasn't planning on using the panels this year in both beds, besides doing maybe like an arch trellis. Again, putting off and trying to do more next year, but I guess I'm just gonna have to do more. Because although putting one will protect one bed more, if I put both of them up, they'll be less likely to go in there. Now, I guess I could get creative and try to find other ways to block them off. I've got a bajillion of the old tomato cages. I could just plop them in there for now so that it's not convenient to walk inside of them. And at least that way I can quasi-deter them, which is probably what I'm gonna do while I wait for the rest. But thanks for hanging out with me today. It was hopefully not too terribly boring. I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite things to do when I'm starting seeds is putting on one of my YouTube channels that I like and just listening while I sow the seeds. Or I don't know, it's kind of in a weird way I'm sowing seeds with someone. Does that make sense? Like, we're doing it together. If I'm watching someone else on YouTube sowing seeds and I'm starting my own, it just kind of feels like I have a little bit of that community when we do. So I hope you enjoy sitting with me. Grab a cup of coffee while you do this and watch my video while maybe planting some of your own. The German Shepherd still thinks she needs my attention, so I'm gonna let you go so I can give her some love, and then I'm gonna go pick up the tiny human. So y'all take care now. Bye.